Don't know if you all have been watching, but on that macro, that zoomed out chart for Bitcoin, absolute pressure cooker right now. And for me personally, it's kind of a dizzying experience, especially because like a lot of you, I zoom in on the charts a lot. I want to kind of get a sense of what the next move is for Bitcoin. So it's like a dizzying experience waiting, especially we're waiting for this next Bitcoin halving a little bit less than a year away. You see the white horizontal line. I want to talk about the pressure cooker. I want to talk about where Bitcoin is right now and all the different angles. And you can go on Twitter and you just see all of these different targets for Bitcoin. Nobody knows what's next. I want to discuss all of these things. Let's start with some news because I think going into this next cycle and where we are in this Bitcoin season, I think this is a big deal. Bitcoin getting the center stage from a political standpoint. And it is a national standpoint for US, but it's going to be the world stage. Everybody will be having their eyes on this. This is new today. Mooney unveils bill to block central bank digital currency pilot program. I wanted to show you a quick clip from the intro of this video that's on this website. Just listen to what she says really quick.
The issue of regulation in the crypto space starting to cause a clear divide in Washington. Our next guest.
A clear divide in Washington. So this is where that political stage becomes set, right? Going into this next cycle, into this next election. And so we're going to see the talk of crypto a lot throughout this election. I think that's a good thing for crypto. Hopefully, crypto and crypto regulations come out in a positive way for crypto holders. Here's what we have going on with this bill, though. A growing number of Republican lawmakers are calling to block a central bank digital currency from being issued in the U.S. Alex Mooney of West Virginia is the latest to join the chorus. Mooney's bill, which was introduced to the House on Thursday, is different. He is calling for something called the Digital Dollar Prevention or Pilot Prevention Act, which aims to prevent the Federal Reserve from launching a pilot program that would test the operability of a CBDC in the U.S. financial system. Let me know in the comments below if you think this is even going to pass, right? I first want to just know your thoughts in relation to that, but you scroll down and this is kind of where we are right now with that. Mooney's bill has already received support from 15 fellow House Republicans. So I think, and I always like to go back to the Bitcoin charts, when we have any type of headline or something going on, whether it's a macroeconomic headline, a political headline like this, I like to go back to the charts and kind of evaluate where we are in the cycles of Bitcoin. And again, here's a Bitcoin halving coming up. Here is the bear market that we just survived. And we have just elections coming up, right? And not the too distant future. So the question is, as Bitcoin gets this stage, how does it interact with this next cycle that's coming up, this Bitcoin halving, right? How does it interact with this last piece of time before the Bitcoin halving from a cycle perspective because of the headlines and because of the narratives that are floating around? I think a lot of it will have to do with bills like this that we're discussing and we're kind of talking about right now that are trying to be passed in terms of crypto. What direction does it go in? That's something I'll be watching. Now, all the while, kind of as we talked about in the beginning of this video, it's the pressure cooker. I saw this tweet, Titan of crypto, Bitcoin is in a pressure cooker, progressing in a descending channel for almost 2.5 years. Bitcoin is now sandwiched between the upper line of the channel and the 200 weekly SMA. One of the two will have to give. This is what the chart looks like. And just check this out, everybody. I mean, it is being sandwiched in between this upper trend line. There's the 200-week moving average. The other thing is, not even mentioned in that tweet, is 20-week moving average right below that, right? So 20-week moving average actually looking to potentially cross above the 200-week moving average. But the thing about this is, and this is what makes it dizzying for me, is first off, nobody knows what's going to happen next. But when you start kind of, and if you're on Twitter or even YouTube, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You start going and you start looking at all the different data points, right? Here's a data point, just to give you an example. Over 1.4 million addresses have amassed a staggering 700,000 Bitcoin within the 27,167 to 27,976 range. This range could serve as a strong support level. A bullish data point. You go over here, the Bitcoin realized HODL ratio continues to climb as the transfer of wealth from experienced investors to newer market participants perpetuates a mechanic typical of cycle transition points. Kind of a bullish type of title. Then you go over to something like this. This is DZ over here. Is Bitcoin about to crash? 2018, 2019. And he's just talking about this indicator that's playing out very similar to what is actually happening right now. And you can see on the charts, and there's this 2019 move that he's discussing, a potential fall for Bitcoin like we saw after that initial uptick in the charts, right? This is something we've been talking about on this YouTube channel. The setup is there for that. Go to something like Trend Rider over here on Twitter, another bearish indicator. 6 out of 8 times this bearish MACD cross on the weekly anticipated a major correction. 2 out of 8 times was fake out and followed by a bull run. But again, one of those times you can see Bitcoin falling into this downtrend in 2019. So very similar to the setup that is in play right here with a MACD on the weekly happening. And you go to the weekly chart, we just kind of see that happening on this weekly. Open up the MACD and you can just see, look at this, that MACD line trending down towards that weekly signal line. So dizzying. Is it not dizzying to you? I like to be just completely upfront all the time on my YouTube channel. I use technical analysis to visualize what's going to happen next, but I'm not here to predict anything. Nobody knows what is going to happen. But I think there is just, from a macro perspective, we looked at some macro headlines. We looked at some bullish headlines. From a macro perspective, I think it's very clear what is in store here could be explosive in a way that we might have never even seen before, especially as Bitcoin is getting the center stage right now from a global perspective in a way different way than it might have been getting back here, right? It's definitely getting legs. We have, from a political perspective, a split in regards to the approach to crypto. Back here, there weren't very many political voices for Bitcoin and crypto. Right now, going into this next cycle, it looks like there's going to be. I think that's a big deal. But at the end of the day, it's always about zooming out. It's always about realizing the potential to upside, to downside, and just being prepared either way. That's why I do technical analysis, because I like to visualize data points. Bullish, meaning if this pressure cooker explodes, this could be a very divergent type of bullish confirmation for Bitcoin compared to what happened back here. Now, if it falls, it would just be kind of repeating what happened back here. And we have areas that we need to watch from a technical analysis perspective, like lower high areas, but it would be very commonplace move for Bitcoin. So it is dizzying, but it offers very clear perspective, I think, in terms of nobody does know, but here's what to be prepared for, right? And here's how to just visualize the chart so that you can make your own decisions accordingly based on your own scenario and own situation, because we are all in different situations. So those are my thoughts right now on Bitcoin. I think this is, from a technical analysis perspective, I probably would like to do a video on this, just how it is a pressure cooker. It is getting squeezed in between this 200-week moving average and this upper trend line. You go to the 6-hour chart and you get a sense of it on the short term, Bitcoin being squeezed into this apex of this triangle that we've been talking about, even on the short term, Bitcoin just being squeezed. And it's kind of like, well, what direction is it going to go next? We have the resistance that it's at right now that we've been waiting to see if Bitcoin can break. So far, it has not. If this proves true at the apex area, we might be seeing that downside to the $24,000 target. And that's just something I'm watching. But again, it's that short-term bullish confirmation, explosive move to the upside we can wait for. But that resistance pretty strong here at the upper trend line around 28,000. And if you change this to a daily chart real quick, you can even just see there's that confluent resistance at the 50-day moving average right around $28,000. So let me know your thoughts, everybody. Either way, I appreciate you. I really do. Please hit the subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, hit the like button. I will see you in the next video. God bless.